I'm Brock. Just a few tips on sending files to mastering. One is just make sure you listen over to your final files to make sure nothing went wrong when you made that final print down, that you didn't miss anything in the mix or something wasn't accidentally muted. It's way easier if you can catch that right after you've printed it. Labeling is really important in the final files, making sure we know which track number it is, the track name. Sometimes that can differ between the production process and the final release. Just having everything really clearly labeled so that anybody who was out to open up those files could easily understand and see what was happening. It can be really useful when you feel like you've gotten to a great place with that mix and you feel like everything's buttoned up and sounding the way you want, to test that out and have a listen to it through a limiter or some sort of volume maximizer where you're doing maybe 2 dB of limiting to that final file. That'll at least put you in the ballpark of what's going to happen in the mastering session. It's going to give you an idea of the changes to that mix material that will take place when it gets into a mastering context and we've started to dial in a little bit of compression and limiting to that file. Obviously, you'd want to pull that off before you send it off to final mastering, but sometimes referencing through that can give you an idea of what we're going to be working with here. We really want to make sure we don't have any limiting going on the master bus before the mastering process. The limiters can do a pretty great job of making things loud and hiding their tracks, but as soon as we apply any processing after the fact, any of their inherent distortion and nastiness really just starts to be highlighted by any further processing we do. So limiting and especially the reduction in dynamic range can really make it hard to get the most out of the mastering process. Listening through them can be great, but we don't want to send off the files with the limiters on. If in a mix you're ever wondering like, oh, maybe the vocal's too loud, maybe it's a little too quiet, providing those options to the mastering engineer can be great, just to be able to choose that file if I feel like in the mastering process I'm trying to dig the vocals out with a little bit of EQ or some compression. If I could just switch to that vocal up master instead, that would be great. Similarly, if you're feeling unsure about any master bus processing you're doing, it can be great to provide a with and a without version. That way I can know what you were listening to and what you were going for, and if I feel like I can get to the same place but with better results using some of the equipment that I have, we can overall get to a better place of just making sure we're getting the most out of the mastering.